The body you have lived in for 60 years is not the enemy. It is a faithful friend asking for your help, a quiet companion that has carried your spirit through every storm and every sunrise. To turn away from its gentle whispers now is to abandon the most loyal friend you have ever known. Most people will only hear the list of foods and click away. But 99% miss the final part, where the true practice of lifelong vitality is revealed. To ignore it is to build a beautiful house on a foundation of sand. Foundational clarity. We spend our lives building. We build careers, we build families, we build a home. But the one structure we inhabit every single moment of our existence, the very vessel that carries our consciousness through this world, is often the one we neglect the most. After 60 years, this vessel begins to show the true quality of the materials we have used. It is not a sudden failure, it is the slow, patient accumulation of a lifetime of choices. Each meal, each moment of stress, each night of restful or restless sleep. They are the bricks and mortar. Now, in the later chapters of our lives, the integrity of this structure, our body, determines the quality of our experience. It determines whether our mind remains a clear, tranquil lake or becomes a clouded, turbulent pond. The journey to vitality, especially after 60, is not about fighting against the body. It is about finally learning to listen to it. It is a practice of profound attention. The world outside is loud. It offers endless distractions, quick fixes, and promises of youth in a bottle. It encourages us to look outward for solutions, to find the next secret, the next miracle cure. But the deepest wisdom is always found by turning inward. The conversation you must have is not with a guru or an expert, but with your own physical self. What does it ask for? Not complexity, not exotic ingredients from the far corners of the world. It asks for simplicity, it asks for purity, it asks for harmony. When we choose our nourishment, we are not simply consuming fuel, we are participating in a cycle of energy. We are taking a piece of the outside world and making it part of our inner world. This is a sacred exchange. The question is, what energy are you inviting inside? Are you inviting the energy of chaos, of contamination, of imbalance? Or are you inviting the energy of clean waters, of vital life force, of grounding strength? This understanding is the foundation. Without it, any list of good or bad foods is merely a collection of rules, empty and without spirit. A rule can be broken, but a deep understanding, a felt sense of connection to your own well-being becomes a guiding principle. It is the difference between being a prisoner to a diet and being the architect of your own vitality. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive. They are less forgiving of our indiscretions. A choice that was easily absorbed at 25 can create a ripple of disturbance at 65. This is not a weakness. It is a refinement. Your body is becoming a more precise instrument, capable of detecting subtle qualities in the world around you and within you. This sensitivity is a gift. It is an invitation to cultivate a higher level of awareness, to choose with more intention, to live with more grace. The path forward is not about restriction. It is about conscious, loving selection. It is about choosing to build the remainder of your years with the finest, purest materials available. The wisdom of the body is ancient. It knows what it needs to thrive. Our work is to quiet the noise of the modern world long enough to hear its simple, profound requests. It asks for nourishment that is clean, that is alive, that resonates with the fundamental energies of nature. When we speak of seafood, we are speaking of the ocean, the great mysterious source of life. It can offer us profound gifts of health, but it can also be a place where the imbalances of the human world accumulate. Our task is to learn to discern the difference, to choose the gifts, and politely decline the burdens. This is not a task of fear, but of respect. Respect for the ocean, respect for the creatures within it, and most importantly, respect for the sacred vessel of your own body. This clarity of purpose is the first and most crucial ingredient for a long and vibrant life. It is the compass that will guide you through all the choices that lie ahead. Hidden dangers. There is a principle in nature: that which consumes becomes that which it has consumed. This is a simple truth. When a creature lives at the very top of a long chain of life, it accumulates the story of everything below it. It holds within its flesh the history of the waters it swam in, the smaller fish it ate, and the toxins they in turn consumed. For a large predatory fish that has lived for many decades in the vast ocean, its body can become a library of the sea's modern struggles. It can concentrate substances that in small doses are harmless, but when gathered together over a lifetime become a significant burden. When we then consume this fish, we are not just eating a meal, we are taking that entire accumulated history into our own bodies. At a stage in life when our goal is to lighten our load, to purify our vessel, and to cultivate clarity, introducing such a concentrated burden is an act of deep disharmony. Consider the large, majestic predators of the deep sea: the shark, the swordfish, the king mackerel, the tilefish. These are powerful, long-living creatures. We might admire their strength, but we must also understand the consequence of their position. They are the final repositories. Heavy metals, like mercury, which are washed into the oceans from industrial activities, do not simply disappear. They are absorbed by the smallest organisms, which are then eaten by small fish, which are eaten by larger fish, and so on up the chain. At each step, the concentration grows. By the time it reaches these apex predators, the level of mercury can be profoundly high. When this substance enters our own system, it does not serve us. It is a neurotoxin. It can cloud the mind, disrupt the delicate balance of our nervous system, and create a subtle but persistent fog that stands between us and the clear awareness we seek. It is a quiet poison that works against our efforts to find peace and stability. To choose to avoid these specific fish is not an act of fear, it is an act of wisdom and self-respect. It is a conscious decision to say, I will not take this burden into my temple. You are protecting the clarity of your mind. You are honoring the delicate systems that have served you for so many decades. There are many who will dismiss this concern, who will say that a little bit here and there does not matter. But the path of discipline is built upon the understanding that everything matters. Every choice is a vote for the person you wish to become, for the state of being you wish to inhabit. When you stand at the market, looking at the array of choices, you are at a crossroads. One path leads to introducing a known disturbance into your body. The other path leads to choosing purity. It is a simple, quiet act of power to choose the path of purity. This is not about creating a rigid list of forbidden things. It is about understanding a principle. The principle is this: seek nourishment from sources that are as close to the clean foundation of the food chain as possible. Seek out creatures that have lived shorter lives in cleaner waters. By doing so, you minimize the risk of accumulating the toxins that man has so carelessly introduced into the great systems of the earth. This is a practical application of a spiritual truth. To achieve clarity, we must first remove the obstacles to clarity. A clouded mind cannot perceive the truth. A burdened body cannot feel true vitality. Making the simple, conscious choice to avoid these few types of seafood is a powerful step in clearing the path. It is an act of kindness to your future self, the self who will thank you for the peace and clarity you have so carefully cultivated for him. Pure nourishment. Just as some parts of the ocean can concentrate imbalance, others offer us the very essence of pure, life-giving energy. The principle of wise nourishment is to seek out that which is clean, vibrant, and full of the foundational elements that support not just the body's structure but the mind's function. When we seek nourishment from the sea, we are looking for those creatures that offer a gift of purity, a concentration of health, not of toxins. These are often the smaller, more humble inhabitants of the waters, those that have spent their lives converting the fundamental goodness of the ocean into a form we can receive. They offer us a direct connection to the life force of the sea, unburdened by the long, heavy history of the apex predators. This is the nourishment that builds, that clarifies, that harmonizes. Consider the wild-caught salmon. It is a creature of immense vitality, spending its life in the cold, clean waters of the open ocean and fighting its way upstream in a heroic journey of instinct and strength. Its flesh is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are not just fats, but are fundamental building blocks for the brain. They are the oils that lubricate the pathways of thought, that soothe inflammation throughout the body, and that support a stable, resilient heart. When you consume wild salmon, you are partaking in its vitality. You are inviting that resilient, vibrant energy into your own system. It is a food that strengthens the foundation, that helps to keep the mind's lake clear and calm. The key, of course, is wild caught. A wild fish has eaten its natural diet and has lived a life of vigor. This is a very different energy from a creature raised in a crowded pen on an artificial diet. The choice matters. We can also look to creatures like mussels. These bivalves are filter feeders. They literally clean the water around them. In doing so, they concentrate an incredible amount of nutrients, iron, B vitamins, and minerals from the sea. When sourced from clean, well-managed waters, they are a perfect example of sustainable, restorative nourishment. They give more to their environment than they take, and in turn, they offer us a dense and clean form of nutrition. They remind us of the interconnectedness of all things, that a healthy environment creates healthy food, which in turn creates a healthy body. Another excellent choice is the rainbow trout, especially when it is farmed in clean, well-managed, flowing water systems that mimic a natural river. It is a delicate fish, rich in protein and omega-3s, and because of its controlled environment and shorter lifespan, it remains a clean and safe choice. These four, wild salmon, sardines, mussels, and trout, are not just a list. They represent a principle. Seek clean, vital, and foundational sources of nourishment. Mindful selection. To know the names of the right foods is only the beginning. It is mere information. The transformation from information to wisdom happens in the practice of choosing. This is where discipline is truly forged. The modern marketplace is a confusing landscape filled with competing claims and hidden truths. To navigate it with clarity and purpose is an essential part of the path to vitality. Mindful selection is not a chore, it is a meditation. It is an act of presence and of profound respect for the journey that your food has taken before it reaches you, and for the impact it will have once it becomes part of you. This practice requires a quiet mind and a focused intention. It is about looking past the bright packaging and the loud advertisements to perceive the true nature of what is being offered. When you are choosing your seafood, the first and most important distinction to make is between wild-caught and farm-raised. This is not a simple judgment of one being absolutely good and the other absolutely bad, but an understanding of their different energies and implications. A wild fish has lived a life of freedom and struggle. It has navigated the currents, hunted for its own food, and developed a strength and vitality that comes from a life lived in its natural state. Its nutritional profile reflects this reality. It is often leaner and possesses a more complex and beneficial array of fats from its diverse natural diet. The energy of a wild creature is, by its very nature, different. It is an energy of resilience and natural harmony. A farm-raised fish, on the other hand, has lived a life of confinement. Its world is a pen. Its food is a formulated pellet designed for rapid growth. While some farming practices are becoming more conscious and sustainable, many are not. Overcrowding can lead to disease, requiring the use of antibiotics. The feed can be composed of ingredients that are unnatural to the fish, altering the composition of its flesh and fats. It can be higher in inflammatory fats and lower in the beneficial omega-3s we seek. When you choose, you are choosing which story you want to support and which energy you want to invite into your body. Reading the label is not just a technicality, it is an inquiry into the life of the creature you are about to consume. It is an act of awareness. This practice extends beyond the fish itself. It involves understanding seasons, geography, and sustainability. Is this fish in season? Was it caught in a way that respects the ocean's ecosystem? These may seem like distant concerns, but they are part of the web of connection that your choice affects. Choosing sustainably caught fish is an act of responsibility. It is acknowledging that your personal health is inextricably linked to the health of the planet. It is a way of saying, I wish to be a source of harmony, not of depletion. This does not require you to become an expert marine biologist. It simply requires a gentle curiosity and the willingness to ask questions, to read the fine print, to choose the option that feels most aligned with the principles of purity, respect, and long-term balance. This mindful selection is where you transform abstract knowledge into a living, breathing practice that nourishes you on every level. Harmonious preparation. Once you have mindfully selected your nourishment, the practice continues. The journey from the market to your plate is another opportunity to infuse your food with intention and care. How we prepare our food is as important as what food we prepare. A piece of the purest, most vibrant wild salmon can have its life-giving properties diminished by a harsh, violent cooking method. Conversely, a simple, humble piece of fish can be elevated into a profound offering of health through gentle and respectful preparation. The goal of cooking in this context is not to overwhelm the food with powerful flavors or to transform it into something it is not. The goal is to honor its intrinsic nature and to make its nutrients as available and digestible as possible for your body. The most harmonious methods of preparation are often the simplest. Think of the elements: water and air. Steaming is a beautiful method. It surrounds the food in warm, moist air, cooking it gently without aggressive, high heat. It preserves the delicate fats, the omega-3s, which can be damaged by high temperatures. Steaming respects the integrity of the food, leaving it tender, moist, and whole. Another gentle method is poaching, where the fish is submerged in a warm liquid like water or a light broth and cooked slowly. This method infuses the fish with subtle flavor while keeping it incredibly soft and easy to digest, which is a great kindness to a digestive system that may have grown more sensitive over the years. These methods are quiet, they are calm, and they reflect the state of being we are trying to cultivate within ourselves. Baking or roasting at a moderate temperature is another excellent choice. It allows the fish to cook in its own juices, concentrating its flavor without the need for added oils or the harsh, charring effects of grilling at high heat. When you place a piece of fish in the oven with a few herbs or a slice of lemon, you are performing a simple alchemy, a gentle transformation. The key is always moderation in temperature. High heat frying, blackening, or charring can create chemical compounds that are inflammatory and burdensome to the body. These aggressive methods are a form of stress, and we are putting that stress directly into the food we hope will bring us peace and vitality. The way of harmony is the way of gentleness. Beyond the method of cooking, there is the act of eating itself. This is the final and perhaps most important stage of the practice. Do you eat while distracted, while watching television, while engaged in a stressful conversation, or do you eat with presence? To bring your full, calm attention to your meal is to complete the cycle of respect. Chew slowly, savor the flavors and textures. This is not just a quaint piece of advice, it is a profound physiological instruction. Chewing is the first stage of digestion. When you do it thoroughly, you are easing the burden on the rest of your digestive system. You are also giving your brain time to register that it is being nourished, which leads to a greater sense of satiety and contentment. To eat in a state of quiet gratitude is to infuse your food with the highest possible energy. It is the final blessing you bestow upon the gift you are about to receive. Integrated wisdom. We have walked through a process. We began with the foundation of clarity, understanding the body as a sacred vessel. We learned to discern, identifying the hidden dangers in some foods and the pure nourishment in others. We explored the active practice of mindful selection and the quiet art of harmonious preparation. Now, we arrive at the final, most important stage, the integration of this wisdom into the fabric of your daily life. These are not separate, isolated techniques to be remembered. They are facets of a single unified practice. It is the practice of living with intention. It is the practice of honoring the connection between your inner world and the outer world. This is where true, lasting vitality is born. The mistake many people make is to see these choices as a diet. A diet is a set of external rules imposed upon the self. It is often a struggle, a battle of willpower against desire. But this path is not about a battle. It is about alignment. It is about bringing your daily actions into harmony with your deepest intention, the intention to live a long, clear, and vibrant life. When you understand the principle that you are building your inner temple with the materials you choose, then the choice to have the baked trout instead of the fried swordfish is no longer a sacrifice. It is a joyful act of self-construction. It is an affirmation of your commitment to your own well-being. It becomes effortless because it is aligned with your core desire. This integrated wisdom extends far beyond the food on your plate. The discipline you cultivate in choosing your food will begin to permeate other areas of your life. The mindfulness you practice while eating will teach you to be more present in your conversations. The respect you show for your body will deepen your respect for your mind and spirit. You begin to see that just as you choose not to ingest physical toxins, you can also choose not to ingest mental and emotional toxins. The anger, the fear, the negativity that the world so freely offers. The practice of nourishing the body becomes the training ground for nourishing the soul. You learn to discern what strengthens you and what weakens you in all aspects of existence. This is the true meaning of senior health. It is not about a desperate clinging to youth. It is about a graceful stepping into wisdom. It is about using the accumulated experience of 60, 70, or 80 years to live with more skill, more awareness, and more peace than ever before. Your body is not failing you. It is guiding you toward a more refined way of being. The sensitivities that arise are your teachers. The need for careful selection is your discipline. The enjoyment of a simple, pure meal is your reward. This is not a path of limitation. It is a path of liberation. Liberation from mindless habits, liberation from the noise of the world, and liberation into a state of profound, simple, and unshakable well-being. The path to vitality is not a race against time, but a quiet walk in step with it. Every meal is an opportunity. Every choice is a statement. With each mindful selection, each gentle preparation, and each grateful bite, you are not just sustaining a life. You are cultivating a state of peace. This is the work. This is the reward. It is a step toward home, toward the unshakable clarity that resides within a body and mind in perfect harmony. Which part of this practice felt most resonant for you? The choosing, the preparing, or the eating? Be honest. Did this shift your perspective?